At 28, I found myself standing at a crossroads in life, jobless, directionless, and overwhelmed by a sense of failure. I had no steady income, no professional skills I could confidently rely on, and worst of all, no plan for the future. It felt as if the walls of life were closing in, leaving me trapped in a never-ending cycle of self-doubt and stagnation. Every morning, I woke up to the same sense of emptiness. My days blurred together in a haze of job applications that led to rejection after rejection. Each, "We regret to inform you" email felt like a nail in the coffin of my self-esteem. I spent hours scrolling through job boards, questioning if I would ever break free from this rut. It was an isolating experience, watching my friends thrive in their careers, while I sat on the sidelines, feeling like a spectator in my own life. But then, something inside me shifted. One quiet evening, as I stared at the ceiling of my small, dimly lit apartment, a question popped into my mind. What if I stopped waiting for something to happen and decided to make it happen instead? It was a simple thought, but it sparked something powerful within me. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. I realized that while I couldn't control the past, or even the rejections I faced, I could control how I responded to them. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would stop focusing on what I didn't have and start building something with what I did have. The next day, I began researching industries that piqued my interest. I had always been fascinated by technology and its ability to transform lives, but I had zero experience in the field. The thought of entering such a competitive industry felt overwhelming, but I reminded myself that everyone starts somewhere. I discovered online courses and platforms that offered beginner-friendly introductions to coding, data analysis, and digital marketing. At first, the sheer volume of information was intimidating. I felt like a toddler learning to walk, stumbling through concepts that seemed second nature to others. But I persisted. Every day after scouring job boards, I dedicated hours to studying. I started small, learning basic HTML and CSS to build simple web pages. Each tiny accomplishment, whether it was successfully debugging a line of code or completing a tutorial, felt like a victory. Soon, I began to develop a routine. My mornings were for job applications, my afternoons for online courses, and my evenings for working on small projects to apply what I had learned. This structure gave my days a sense of purpose and momentum. The road wasn't easy. There were nights when I felt overwhelmed by doubt, wondering if I was wasting my time. Imposter syndrome loomed large. Who was I to think I could enter a field like tech with no prior experience? But each time those thoughts crept in, I reminded myself why I started. I visualized the life I wanted, a career where I felt challenged and fulfilled, financial stability, and the ability to wake up each morning with excitement instead of dread. I also sought out stories of others who had made similar transitions. Reading about people who had gone from waitressing to web development or from retail to UX design inspired me. If they could do it, so could I. I leaned on free resources and joined online communities where beginners like me shared their struggles and triumphs. Slowly but surely, I started to feel less alone in my journey. After several months of learning, I felt ready to put myself out there. I began applying for entry-level tech roles, tailoring my resume to highlight the projects I had completed during my self-study. My portfolio wasn't flashy, but it showcased my dedication and willingness to learn. The first few applications didn't lead anywhere, but I didn't let the rejections discourage me. Each no brought me closer to a yes. Finally, after weeks of persistence, I received an email inviting me to interview for a junior web developer position at a small startup. I still remember walking into that interview, equal parts nervous and excited. I was upfront about my non-traditional background, but emphasized my eagerness to learn and grow. To my surprise, they saw potential in me. A few days later, I got the call. I was hired. Starting my first job in tech was both exhilarating and humbling. There was so much to learn, and I often felt like I was playing catch-up. But I threw myself into every task, soaking up knowledge from my colleagues and asking questions whenever I was stuck. Over time, my confidence grew. I began taking on more complex projects and even mentoring new hires who were just starting their journeys. Seeing how far I had come filled me with a sense of pride I hadn't felt in years. A year later, I was promoted to a mid-level developer role, and my responsibilities expanded. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. Looking back, the transformation I experienced wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. I went from feeling stuck and powerless to taking control of my life and future. Today, I wake up each morning excited about the work I do. I've built a career that challenges me, supports me financially, and gives me the freedom to dream bigger than ever before. My story isn't unique. It's a testament to what's possible when you believe in yourself and take consistent action. If you're feeling lost or stuck, I want you to know that it's never too late to change your story. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the first step. Start small, stay persistent, and don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. Your dream career is within reach. You just have to be willing to reach for it. Remember, you're capable of more than you think. If I could go from being jobless at 28 to thriving in a career I love, so can you. Let this be the beginning of your own transformation.